Today we're going to talk about section 12.2, which is about pyramids. A pyramid just means that instead of the figure standing straight up like yesterday, so that the top shape is the same as the bottom shape, it's going to come to a point. So when I think of pyramid, the first thing I think of is like the pyramids of Egypt, which all had a square on the bottom and then come up to a point. But that shape on the bottom could be anything. So we could have a triangle on the bottom, a square on the bottom, we could have a pentagon or a hexagon or any shape on the bottom as long as it comes up to a point. Right? And that'll give us a pyramid. So the only new formula from our formula sheet today is at the very bottom. There's nothing that we're going to do with the pictures, but the very bottom one is for a pyramid in general, for any shape bottom. And it says that our volume is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. So yesterday for a prism, our volume was the area of the base times the height. So that means when we make it go to a point, instead of standing straight up, we only have 1/3 as much stuff to fill it. Our lateral area formula is going to be 1/2 of the perimeter of the base times the slant height. And we'll do a drawing to show what the slant height is. Our examples today are on the same worksheet as yesterday, but we had 3 problems that we didn't complete on that worksheet, so we're going to look at those 3 problems today. So number 6 says find the base edge of a square pyramid. So what that means is the bottom of our pyramid is a square. I always kind of draw mine a little tilty. I don't know why. It's just kind of like a perspective thing that it's easier to see that way. But the bottom of this pyramid is going to be a square, and then all of those corners are going to come up to a common point. We are told that our pyramid has a height of 4. The height goes from the point at the top into the exact middle of the pyramid's base. And it stands straight up and down. It's perpendicular there. So it goes straight from the point right to the center of that base, and it hits at a right angle. And we're told that in this problem, that height is 4. Then we are told we have a slant height of 5. The slant height goes from the point at the top along the middle of one of the sides down to the bottom. Okay? It does not go along one of the corner edges. It goes right down the middle of one of those faces. And in this problem, we're told that that is 5. We are asked for how long the base edge is. So how long is one side of that square? Well, in the middle there, if I connect up, we said that the height hits at a right angle, or perpendicular. So by making that connection, what do I have there? A right triangle. I have a right triangle where one side of it is 4, one side of it is 5, so what does that mean the other side of it is going to be? 3. That's our special 3, 4, 5, or we can do our Pythagorean theorem to figure out what that third side would be. Now, if that from the middle, where the height hits, out to the edge is 3, how long should it be for a whole side of that square? 6. So our base edge in this is 6. That's all this question asked for, but the homework is going to ask you to do some other things, so we're going to do some other things for practice here too for the homework. So we're also going to find lateral area, total area, and volume of this pyramid. Lateral area, the formula on the sheet, which does not need to be memorized, our area formulas do not need to be memorized, is 1/2 perimeter of the base times the slant height. So 1/2 perimeter of the base. How long would it be around the edges of the bottom shape? 24. It's a square, so all of the sides have the same length, and we found that that length is 6. So 6 times 4 is 24 for the perimeter of that square. And the slant height we were given is 5. So we multiply that out, and we find that the lateral area is 60. Total area, we said yesterday, is always lateral plus the bases. Yesterday, we had 2 bases because we had a shape at the bottom and a shape at the top. With a pyramid, we only have 1 base because we have a shape at the bottom, but the top is just a point. So we're going to add the lateral area that we found, which was 60, plus the area of that 1 base that we have. So yesterday we had to multiply by 2 because there was a top and a bottom. Today, since there's just a bottom, we don't need to multiply by 2. So what will the area of that base square be? 6 times 6, since it's a square, which is 36, plus the 60 gives 96 for our total area.
Why did you multiply by 6? Are you just squaring it?
Multiplying the same thing by itself or squaring is the same thing. So I just wrote it as 6 times 6, but writing 6 squared would have been fine as well. Then for the volume formulas do need to be memorized. Volume is 1/3 area times height. So 1/3, when we talked about total area, we said the area of that base was going to be 6 times 6, or 36. And the height we were given is 4. So 1/3 times 36 times 4 is 48. Total area is the area of the entire shape. So all of the side faces and also the bottom face. Lateral area is just the area of all those triangles that would make up the sides of the pyramid. Other questions on that problem? Okay, for number 7 then, again we're talking about a square pyramid. Let's try again. This time we know that we have a slant height of 5 again. So slant heights go from the point down the side of one of the faces, and that is 5. And we know that we have a base edge this time of 8. We are asked to find the height. And the height goes from that top point right into the middle of the shape on the bottom. So what can we do to find that height? Pythagorean theorem. So we could break up that 8 and make that 8 into a 4 that would just go to the middle where the height meets. And we could do the Pythagorean theorem to find the height side, or this turned out to be a special one again. So what is the height there? 3. Questions? For number 8, it says that we have a pyramid. It doesn't tell us what shape the bottom is. So it could be a square, it could be a triangle, it could be a pentagon, it could be an octagon, it could be any shape on the bottom. We have no idea what shape it is, so we can't really draw a picture here. But whatever shape is on the bottom, then it comes up to a point at the top. And we know that that shape, whatever it is, has an area of 20, and that the whole thing has a volume of 40. So we're going to use our volume formula here, which is volume is 1/3 area of base times height. And that's the formula that needs to be memorized for the test on Monday. And then we're going to plug in what we know. We know volume is 40. We know area is 20. And we don't know the height, but that's what we were asked to find. So how do I find it? I could do 1/3 times 20. Or how could I get rid of a third? Because that's kind of messy. Multiply by 3. If you do 1/3 times 20, that's fine, but it's going to be a really messy decimal. So just make sure that you stick with fractions instead. Otherwise, rounding it off will create some error there. So 3 times 40 is 120. And on the other side, we still have a 20 and h. So how do I get rid of the 20? Divide by 20. And that gives us 6 for our height.
Wouldn't it be 10?
No. 100 divided by 20 would, no, 200 would be 10. So tonight's homework is the 12.2 part of the assignment. On number 2 and number 3, it asks you for the lateral edge. That is something we did not talk about, so I do not want you to do that part. What a lateral edge is, if we look at one of these pictures, that's the edge of like the corner of the pyramid, but we're not going to talk about how to find that. So on number 2 and number 3, when it asks you to find the lateral edge, just skip that part of the question. Then number 9 is based on the lateral edge, so that means we're going to skip number 9 altogether. So number 2 and number 3, skip the part about lateral edge, but do the rest of the problem. Number 9, just skip altogether.